In this video, I'm going to talk about how to cut a perfect male top. The measurements that we are going to use to do the cutting is this. Male top, at times it is called a kaftan. There's no difference between the two. The number one of the measurement is the length of the top or the kaftan, which is 35 inches. Number two is the bust or the chest measurement, which is 40. Number three of the measurement is the belly or the body measurement, which is 38. Number four is the hips measurement of the kaftan, and it's 42 inches. Number five is the back measurement or the shoulder measurement, which is 17. Number six of the measurement is the neck measurement, which is 17. Number seven of the top measurement is the muzzle, which is 14 inches. The muzzle rests on the sleeve or the hand of the top. Now, number 8 is the lower muzzle. Lower muzzle is 13 inches. And number 9 is the hand or the sleeve's length, which is 24 inches. And number 10 is the wrist. The wrist is 8 inches. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is to take the kaftan length and apply it on your material or the fabric that you are going to use for the cutting. Now, here is how it works. We have cutting allowance, which is 3 inches, and folding allowance, which is 2 inches. So, since the length of this kaftan is 35 inches, I'm going to add 5 inches to this 35, which will result to be 40 inches. Now, the total length of the fabrics that I'm going to use is going to be 40 inches long. Then, how can I get the wideness of the fabrics that I'm going to use to cut the top? To get the wideness, you divide the hips measurement by 4 inches. Now, when we divide 42 inches by 2, we have 21 inches. To break down the calculation, so that without calculator, you can do your calculation perfectly. When we divide 42 as the hips by 2, we have 21 inches. And when we further divide 21 inches by 2, we have 10.5 inches. Now, the wideness of the fabrics that we are going to use to cut the front panel of this top is going to be 10.5 inches. Remember, I'm going to add 1 inches for the sewing allowance. Now, when I add 1 inches to this 10.5, it will be what? 11.5 inches in total. But mind you, your fabric is going to be folded like this. Here is the right side of the fabric, and here is the wrong side of the fabrics. All our cuttings and our drawings are going to be on the wrong side of the fabrics. Now, there's one thing I want you to know, which is something you need to know before you get into the cutting. It's not any other thing but the measurement that we are going to use and how the divisions work. Now, we have on this paper being placed on the table, I have column 1, I have column 2, and I have column 4. I skip column 3 because it's not of use to us here. Now, any measurement that we are going to see on the column 1 is not divisible at all. We don't divide the measurement. We use it as it is. And any measurement you see on the column 2 are being divided by 2 before you apply it to the fabrics. Now, and any measurement you see on the column 4 are being divided by 4 before you will use them. Now, some of the measurements that are not divided are this. The kaftan length is constant. We don't divide it. The sleeve length is constant. And lastly, the neck measurement. Now, the next thing on the column 2 is the shoulder or the back measurement. We don't divide the back measurement. We divide the back measurement by 2 inches. And we have the sleeve muzzle. The sleeve muzzle is being divided by 2 inches. And the sleeve lower muzzle is being divided by 2 inches. And the wrist is also divided by 2 inches. Now, on the column 4, we have the bust or the round chest or the chest as it's so called. We divide it by 4 inches. Now, also the belly measurement, we divide it by 4 inches. And the hips, we use division of 4 to divide the hips. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is nothing but the lines on the fabrics, how to apply all these measurements on the front panel of the top to cut our senator top or kaftan. Now, the first line that we are going to draw on the fabrics is the neckline. The next line that follows the neckline is the shoulder line. the next line that follow is the chest line. The next line that follow is the belly line. The next line that follow the belly line is the hip line, and the last line is the bottom line. Now, how can we get the neckline? The neckline is gotten by rule a line as shown in the video. Now, the next line that we are going to draw is our shoulder line. For we to get the shoulder line, we have to take 2.5 inches down on the fabric to get our shoulder line. I repeat, 2.5 inches marked. You draw the line. Now, the next line that we are going to draw on this fabric is the chest line. Please pay a good attention to this. How can we get this chest line? Our chest line is gotten by dividing our bust by 4 inches. When we divide our bust by 4 inches, we now minus 1.5 inches, which will rest on the back panel of this senator top. Now, this client's bust is 40 inches. Now, when we divide 40 inches by 2, we have 20 inches. And when we further divide it by 2, we have 10 inches. Now, I'm going to minus 1.5 inches out of these 10 inches. And I will have nothing but 8.5 inches, which is going to be in the front panel. So the chest line is gotten by dividing the bust by 4 inches. Then we minus 1.5 inches for the back panel. So when we divide 40 by 2 inches, we have 20 inches. When we further divide it by 2, we have 10 inches. And when we minus 1.5 inches out of 10 inches, we have 8.5 inches. Now, to have our chest line, I'm going to mark from the shoulder line down 8.5 inches to get my chest line as shown. Now, the next line is not any other line but the belly line and the hip line. In order for us to get this belly line, you need to put some things into consideration. When the person is halfway tall, we mark from the chest line down to the either 14 inches when the person is halfway tall, and when the person is very tall, we use 15 inches to 16 inches or 17 inches. And when the person is not that tall, we use 13 inches, 12 inches, depends on the tallness of the client that you are making the top for. So now, in this case, since this person is halfway tall, I'm going to use 14 inches for this client of mine. I'm going to mark 14 inches, then half of the 14 inches, which is 7, will be my belly line. So I'm going to rule all this line now. So, in summary, I have the first line that you will draw is the neckline, the second line is the shoulder line, the third line is the chest line, the fourth line is the belly line, and the last line is nothing but the hip line. In summary, so the shoulder line is 2.5 inches, and for you to obtain your chest line, you divide your bust by 4 inches, then minus 1.5 inches out of your bust, which will be, in this case, will be 8.5 inches. And from your chest line, you measure 14 inches, or 13 inches when the person is not that tall, 12 inches when the person is not that very tall. Therefore, when the person is average tall, we use 14 inches. Now, the next thing we are going to do is to take the neck measurements of this line. I'm going to mark inward from where I folded 2 inches as shown on the screen. So now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my free hand to do the curve. So now, here is our neckline, here is our shoulder line. So we are going to apply the measurements of the back of that client, or the shoulder measurement of the client, to take the back measurement on the shoulder line. Now, the back measurement of this person is 17 inches. When we divide 17 inches by 2, we have 8.5 inches. Now, I'm going to add half-inch allowance for the sewing. So now, the next thing you are going to do is to connect the neckline down to the shoulder line as shown. Now, the bust, I'm going to the chest line to apply the bust measurement on the chest line. Our bust measurement is nothing but 14 inches. When we divide it by 2 inches, we have what? 10 inches. Sorry, when divided by 4 inches, we have 10 inches. Now, I'm going to apply that 10 inches on this fabric. 10 inches. Then I'm going to add 1 inch as our sewing allowance. Now, I'm going to mark the shoulder line down to the chest line. Now, I'm going to mark down from the shoulder line down to the chest line. Please take note of this. In a senator top, the front panel armhole is always deeper than the back panel. So I'm going to mark from the line I mark down from the shoulder line down to the bust line 1.5 inches inward as shown in the video. As shown, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. So I'm going to rule the line. So the next thing I'm going to do is nothing but I'm going to use my free hand to do the armhole cuff. If you have armhole cuff, you can use it, no problem. But make sure it is accurate. First of all, I'm going to use my free hand as shown in the video. Make sure it touches that line. You mark inward. Yes, I have my armhole cuff. Now the next thing I'm going to do is nothing but the belly line. Now the belly measurement of this client is 38 inches. Here's the belly line. And now I'm going to divide 38 by 2 inches, which will give me 19. I will further divide it by what? 2 inches, and it will give me 9.5 inches. I'm going to mark 9.5 inches on my fabric. And I will add 1 inches for the sewing allowance. Now to the hip line. The hip of this client is 42 inches. When we divide it by 2, we have 21. When we further divide it by 2, we have 10.5. I'm going to mark 10.5 on the hip line. And 1 inch for the sewing allowance, as shown. Now the next thing we are going to do is to connect all the points on the fabric as shown. You can either use your hand to do the connection or you use a roller. And if you have hip cuff, it is better. So, and that is it for the front panel of a senator top. I'm going to do the cutting now. I'm going to notch the hip line. That is where the opening or the slit of the senator will start from. We call it slit or the opening. So we are done with the front panel of the senator top. Now let's jump into the back panel. I'm going to fold the back panel into 2, with the right side facing each other while the wrong side facing you. The next thing we are going to do, we are going to place the front panel on the back panel as shown. Make sure they are equal, especially the folded part that is facing you, and also the neckline should be equal with the back panel. So the next thing we are going to do, I'm going to trim along the neckline as shown. So the next thing we are going to do is to mark 3 inches as shown. Now I have my 3 inches at the back panel. When we divide 3 inches by 2, we have nothing but 1.5 inches. So the next thing I'm going to do, you are going to fold the back panel over the front panel as shown. Now we're going to trace the neck. So cut out the neck of the back panel as shown. So the next thing we are going to do is I'm going to mark 1.5 inches from the armhole of the front panel to the back panel, meaning I'm going to give 1 inch allowance to the back panel so that when the client put on the outfit, the back will be very, very free. He will be able to move his hand or her hand freely. Hope you can see the markings. So I'm going to trace it as shown. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to mark the neckline from the shoulder line up to the neckline of the front panel, which is 7.5 inches. I'm going to place it on the back panel and mark it as shown. Then you now connect the line from here up to the place you marked. So we are done with the marking of the back panel. The next thing I'm going to do is to cut out the back panel of the senator top as shown. I will also notch here for the slit. Just at least, the notch should be at least half inches. It should not be more than half inches. Now we have our front panel of the senator top, at the same time our back panel. Thank you for watching this video. In our next video, I'm going to show you how to cut the sleeve of a senator top. Don't forget to cut out the excess fabric that will be left behind here, because that is the cutting allowance that I told you earlier in the video. You can see it's 3 inches. This is the cutting allowance that we added. Our 2 inches allowance is also here. I'm going to cut out this one. Our senator top is ready.